Coming up on the Making Waves VO podcast.
Kind of my philosophy is that we've got all these different parts in our laryngeal anatomy that can be used to make noise. And so a lot of people will default to phonating or making noise with their vocal folds because that's how they've always made all their noise. But you don't have to do that.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves. Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
This is the Making Waves VO podcast with Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell.
Yes, it is indeed the Making Waves VO podcast, a special Halloween version. It's our favorite time of year.
And it's brought to you by Full Compass, fullcompass.com.
We know VO.
Okay, enough of that. We are going to have some fun today on the Making Waves VO podcast. We've got a great guest, Michael Schwalbe. He is a voice actor, a casting director, and a director, and he does creature voices. That is one of the big things that he does in his career, and he is phenomenal at it. Bobby, have you done many creature kind of voices in your career?
I've done. I did a game, The Walking Dead, and I was turned into a zombie, and I died in it, which was very fun. And then I do a witch. So yeah.
Okay, I know you've done this for us before. Can you break out the witch, Wicked Witch of the West, Margaret Hamilton, right? Margaret Hamilton.
Yeah.
Do you have a little bit? Do you need to warm up? Do you need to do some vocal exercises, or do I need to pay you?
Let me turn my mic down because it's really, really loud.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
Wow. Yeah, that's better than I thought. That's, yeah. And now you can't voice anything the rest of the day, right?
Exactly.
Oh, no, that was good stuff right there. Yeah, very much on point. Yeah.
How about
love
you?
To hear.
Any creatures?
No, I did do a video game for Fruit Ninja. You know Fruit Ninja?
Yeah.
I did. I was one of the ninjas, and it was just all efforts. I never said any words. I was just a chubby ninja, and yeah, it was just a lot of efforts. Where, okay, Kev, you just killed another ninja, and you're satisfied. Give me some sounds for that. Ho 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 ho! Ha 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 ha!
I love it. You do sound chubby.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you. I process that through my chubby neck, and so it plays. You sound chubby. I've never heard that.
Oh, Lord.
Goodness gracious. All right, let's cut it out with the amateur stuff. Let's bring in
really.
Michael. Let's get Michael on here. Michael, welcome to the Making Waves VO podcast. Let me give you a proper introduction, by the way, really, really quick. He is a voice actor, a casting director, and a director. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the vocal chameleon, Michael Schwalbe. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. I just bowed, but you can't see me, so... thanks
Did I say your name okay?
Yeah, you got it exactly right, just as I would expect a professional to.
Okay, and before we dive into, like, my first question, did we cross paths at Tennessee Voiceover Exchange ever?
Maybe. I was there at those meetings a lot around, like, 2012 through, like, 2016, 2017, and then I moved to Los Angeles.
I bet I just missed you. I was doing some stuff with Christy there. It just periodically she would ask me to come in and, like, host a talk or something like that. So I couldn't remember us, but I do remember seeing this tall, lanky guy with the haircut to the side, and I'm like, why is he so familiar? And it was you.
Well, I'm just ubiquitous, really. But I think we probably crossed paths somewhat because I've also hosted some things for TiVo, even remotely, after that, and then Christy and I still talk fairly often. So I'm sure we're our Venn diagrams are like overlapping a little bit.
I got you. All right.
Did you come to Vegas for music, by the way, or just you're not from here, right?
No, I've lived
Not
there.
Vegas,
Nashville.
not Vegas, Nashville.
Oh, I was trying to do the music industry. I fronted a band for a number of years, was working at a record label after graduating from Belmont University.
Okay.
And so,
That makes sense.
I was trying to hack it in the music industry, but I managed to choose a time when the entire music industry was dying and flailing and floundering. So I was like, hey, what else can I do with my voice? This voice acting thing seems kind of fun. Maybe I can do that while I'm touring. Oh, wait, I can actually make money doing that? I'm going to just do that. So the rest is history.
You don't want to miss what's next. Making Waves returns momentarily.
Hello, everybody. This is Dave Walsh of The True Tell, and you're listening to the Making Waves VO podcast with my friends Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell.
Oh, Bobby, I remember getting into voiceover, and one of the most exciting parts about getting into voiceover is buying all the gear. You don't realize that until you become a voice actor and you got to produce your own stuff. And you go, ooh, this part should be fun. But then you go, I have not a clue on what I'm supposed to buy.
Exactly.
That's why you trust your good friends at Full Compass, fullcompass.com. They know VO there, and you're going to have a great selection of pro audio gear, and you're going to get a lot of good help. And there's a lot of good attributes that go along with buying from Full Compass.
Yeah, so if you're not really sure when you got the piece of equipment and you have questions about it, they have a free 2-year service or repair plan. They have free shipping on orders over $49. I love that. I think my favorite thing is the low price guarantee, because you just never know. You said a second ago that you're getting into this and you don't know what you need, but how about, do you know if you're paying the right price for it? So you don't have to worry about that when you shop at fullcompass.com. They'll guarantee to match the price on the products they sell for new, identical, and immediately available products offered at a lower price.
They have flexible financing, Bobby, and they also have free expert assistance, and that's why we say we know VO at Full Compass.
Everything from microphones to interfaces to headphones to mic booms, they've got it.
If you have any questions and you're more old school and you want to call them on the phone, you can call Full Compass at 800-356-5844. Full Compass and fullcompass.com.
We know VO.
Making Waves returns. So you do animation voices, you do video game voices, but P.S., you also crush commercial reads and promo reads. But let's get into the vocal chameleon thing.
I'm just really attached to anything that pays me, honestly.
Yes, aren't we all? But how did you develop the vocal chameleon thing? And what does that mean to you, by the way?
Well, as many of us are wont to do, just grew up being compelled to make stupid noises all the time, and so I just figured out a way to monetize my compulsion. So I was always just doing these voices and noises and characters and, make-believe games with my brother and whatnot my whole life anyway, and so then it was like, hey, this skill set is remarkably well-suited for this profession. Yeah,
Did you go to the principal's office a lot?
No, I was too busy reading all the time, which it's like the only thing I ever really got in trouble for, aside from like mouthing off to the teacher because I thought I was very funny. But just always reading, and that turns out also to be very beneficial, maybe the most beneficial for acting, because you got to get really good at interpreting copy and scripts if you want to do this professionally. And I find that one of the biggest obstacles for newer actors, if they haven't had a lot of time spent in books and such growing up, is that just getting that script interpretation on the fly can be really hard.
Absolutely. So you mentioned that you moved to LA, and that's where a lot of the genres that you do are. Why did you move away from LA?
Well, so when I was in Nashville, I was doing a lot of local and regional, like commercials and corporate stuff. Because at the record label, I was working at Warner Music Group after college, and was working in sales there. I've always been very good at selling things. I love talking to people and hyping up a product that's worth hyping. And so it was a pretty natural transition to like, well, I can sell other people's stuff too, and I can sell myself. It's another thing that I'm always preaching to new actors and any creative freelancers about is like, ultimately, this job is a sales job, and all creative freelancing is. So you got to know how to sell stuff. So I was doing that. And then over time, you know, as I'm stoning my way up through different levels of this career, I was having to fly out to LA every now and then for sessions. And it just got to a point where it just made more sense to go out there. You know, once I got in with a Los Angeles talent agency, you know, they want you to be out there. This is pre-COVID, so everything at that point really needed you to be in Los Angeles in person if you were doing like union stuff. So that's kind of what made me move out there. And then I moved away because COVID, and then my ex-wife at the time had been, she was is a super talented professional opera singer, and both of us being creative freelancers meant that our incomes were like woo, just, you know, such a roller coaster. So she decided to pursue academia and go get her doctorate. So she got accepted into UNLV just about the time that COVID hit and all the performance gigs dried up anyway. And it's like, why are we spending all this money to be in Los Angeles when all the studios are closed and, you know, you're going to school anyway? So like, let's just get out of here. So we moved to Vegas. I was nervous about it at the time because I thought like, oh, am I leaving, you know, all these opportunities? But it was definitely the right choice. I love Las Vegas, and like I was saying right before the start of this, I'm at the very, very southern tip, so it's really a very convenient drive over. It's at worst like 4.5 hours, and at best I can get from my door to the door of a studio in Burbank in like 3 hours and 40 minutes sometimes. So like that's almost the amount of time it would take you to drive like in town if you were in rush hour.
Exactly.
So I
Do you know our buddy Trey Mosley out there?
Sorry?
Do you know our buddy Trey Mosley?
Oh yeah. No, he and I were
He's
just
awesome.
texting the other day. Yep, he's a great
He's
dude.
awesome.
Shout
Excellent.
out Trey Mosley.
Yeah, always. Are there any studios that do your kind of work in Vegas?
There are, but I've never done any thing with them because I did one gig with one. But the Las Vegas rates are not really what Los Angeles are. So it's kind of like, even though they're so close, there's kind of their own little silos and markets, you know. So there's Adrenaline Studios, there's Monster Sound and Picture, there's one more, I think, but I mean, I've got a pretty world-class studio in my house, so like anything that I would need them for, like I can already do here. So
Gotcha.
I have reached out to them, and they're very friendly, and we've talked, but have just not really needed to use them.
How often are you getting to LA?
It really depends. I'll go a month or two without going, and then I think 2 weeks ago I had like 5 straight sessions, so I was there for like a whole week for multiple different projects. So it's just like anything, just boom or bust, really. So I would say on average, probably about every month or so, I try to go out there or have something to bring me out there. But obviously, the more I can work from home, the better. I love the people in Los Angeles. I have so many amazing dear friends there, but I hate the city.
Are you getting most of your opportunities through AVO?
Well, so I've assembled a Voltron of about 12 different talent agencies. But I would say primarily, yes, it is AVO. Especially in the wake of my last year or two, which has been very tumultuous personally and professionally, I have just almost entirely stopped doing non-union stuff. I'm FICOR, so I'm trying to prioritize only union. So I delete almost all my non-union stuff, and most of the regional and local talent agencies are primarily non-union nowadays. So, so mostly I would say like 80% is coming from AVO.
Love it. Now, we're doing this a very special Halloween episode, right? And we're going to get into the creature voice stuff. And hopefully we're going to get a cold read challenge out of you here in just a little bit, Michael. But I want to talk about the creature voices a little bit. So it's not human. It's not anything organic or it can't be authentic. But what's your process? Oh, it is? Okay, good. All right, so correct me that I am wrong. Tell me how you come up with a creature voice and what's the process like?
Sure. Well, it helps if you start by being an inhuman cryptid like myself. But it really, for those that aren't aware, I refer to myself not as a man or a woman, but as a concept. I'm a creature of cloth and sand crawling out of the wasteland.
You and Charlie Sheen, both people of concept.
You know, he and I were just talking about that. So the process, it depends on what the creature monster is for, because the media that it's going to be in usually determines like what I'm being given to prepare. So if it's for a video game, which is usually what the most common thing is, hopefully they will have artwork. That's by far the most important attribute, because there's not much of a script usually for creatures monsters. It might say like come into battle sound, pain sound, death sound, but occasionally they'll spell it out like we want a roar arg, but even that can be so subjective. So it really, really needs artwork, because that lets me see like, okay, well, do they have this big maw full of teeth and like a huge sloppy tongue? Okay, well, that'll sound like whatever. Do they have like really tiny eyeballs and like a huge snout? Like all these kind of things will go into a read. Are they like 40 feet tall? The more info that I know about the physicality of the creature, the more that I'll be able to internalize like, okay, well, how would that translate to what it would sound like? And so then I kind of just riff on some stuff. Usually the client is like, I don't know, just do something and it'll probably be cool. And so I kind of just give them a variety, and then they will usually hone in like, okay, of this sample set, we like these, now give us another set of however many. Or we'll just, the demo will prove that like, okay, I'm versatile enough, so they just hire me, and then in the session it's like, okay, well, now we need this kind of a zombie, and I'm thinking it's going to be like kind of guttural but hissy, and so then we just kind of riff off each other with like, okay, so are you thinking like and they're like, yeah, but like, can you make it like more gravelly?
Why, yes,
so we
he
just
can.
sit in there and make weird noises at each other until we're like, yeah, that's sick.
What will we know the best of one of your?
Oh
one
man,
of your
I don't know.
monsters?
I don't know how cool you are. So what do you?
Ouch!
What kind of what kind of games and stuff do you play?
All right, let's look at the broadest reach, okay, Michael?
I would say
Hey now,
the
probably.
low-key insults.
not just a mom.
Well, I didn't say you weren't cool. That you're self-reporting there. I
We're
would
very
say,
insecure in this space, Michael.
well, yeah, we're actors, of course we are. So
Yeah.
I would say the monster sounds people probably know the best are from a game called Slay the Spire, which was. It's proof that you never know what's going to hit, because it was sold to me as a like, we need a couple dozen monsters, nonverbal monster sounds for this little 2-person indie card game. Like, okay. So, I recorded them all in like less than an hour and sent it off and got I think at the time, $400 for this little non-union thing. Well, then, fast forward a year or two, and I'm like, I wonder how that game is doing. And it's got like 100,000 reviews and is the number 6 highest rated game of all time on Steam.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So that was the first game that like that I was in that people actually knew what it was. And so that was kind of surreal, because then if I'm at like a convention I go to GDC, or was going to GDC a lot, which is Game Developer Convention in San Francisco. And I do a lot of my game work just in person, kind of networking and slinging cards and whatever. And so I would mention that I had done Slay the Spire, and they're like, "Oh my God, I love that game, dude! Wait, you're all the creatures?" And it's like, "Yeah, yep, I'm all of them." And then he's like, "You're literally, your voice is my messenger notification."
Oh, that's funny.
That's awesome.
So that was pretty surreal.
Was that the one that you did 60 voices for?
So I only did 20 for that one. One of the games that I've done 60 or more for a couple that I did 60 plus things for, I believe, was Lost Ark, which is a MMO RPG that is, I want to say it's made by Amazon Game Studios, but I might be wrong about that. But yeah, no, I'm right. Yeah, Amazon Games. Anyway, and that was a lot of just different NPCs. I did some monsters and creatures and stuff for that. The biggest, both literally and metaphorically, was Demon Commander Voltan. And so I was this massive, like, raid boss, kind of Minotaur-looking dude. Carmine! And so that was fun. But then another one was called Monster Train, appropriately, and it was similar to Slay the Spire in that it's a deck building kind of game, and so there's all these different monsters that come into play that you're using attacks and abilities that you play with cards to defeat. It's much cooler than I'm making it sound, but it was me and then my one of my favorite people on the planet, DB Cooper, who she did like 60 or 80 different creatures too, and then I did the other like 60 or 80 creatures for that game, and it was over a couple sessions, and that was really challenging because people think, oh, you're making noises, this can't be that hard, but when you've got like 39 different creatures that you got to get through in this session, and each creature has to have coming into play, attack, taking damage, pain, and then death sounds, and then each of those sounds needs like 4 or 5 or 6 like samples for the sound bank, so that it's not just the same every time that you move. So by sound number 600 that you're doing, it's like, wow, this is really pretty difficult. It's a good thing that you hired me for this, because a normal person would be dead.
Hi, I'm Lacey Deline, voice artist and producer, and you're watching Disney Channel. No, huh? Podcast. Making Waves. Oh, Kevin and Bobby's thing! Whoops.
Yeah. Have you ever created a character that you're like halfway through and you're like, oh gosh, what the heck did I do? And it becomes too taxing?
No, it's usually more likely that I blame the client. Because it's like, okay, well, what do you need this to sound like? And then it's like, wow, there's way more copy for this than I thought. Or we get through it and it's like, okay, great. And they're like, oh, wait, we just found another tab. We've got another 60 lines. It's like,
oh, wow.
But no, for the most part, having been a metal singer for many years before this, like I know where to place the strain and the texture to make it as sustainable as possible. And kind of my philosophy is that we've got all these different parts in our laryngeal anatomy that can be used to make noise. And so a lot of people will default to phonating or making noise with their vocal folds because that's how they've always made all their noise. But you don't have to do that. If you have everybody has them, like your false chords or your vestibular folds. If you just activate those, you can add a lot of gravel to your sound, and it's almost like a Photoshop filter for your voice where you can just add it and then take it back off again. So it's like using 2 parts of your throat simultaneously to achieve these textures and layers, but because you're adding the texture with a different part of your throat, it doesn't actually affect your speaking voice, so which is how you can sustain it for a long time.
Fascinating. This isn't video, but I'm watching you on video here, and I'm a jewelry person, and I'm checking out all your hardware. It's really cool, by the way. And,
Thank you.
Oh, the nails
I
are done
am
too.
rather extra.
And I'm just wondering, being in the booth and recording, do they make you take your hardware off? Because if you have a sensitive mic?
Being a consummate professional, I am smart enough to not wear loud jewelry in the booth. And if I do, I make sure that I've got like a shirt that I can roll over it or something to keep it like
Okay.
on here. I'm wearing this now because I just came from a coffee meeting with somebody and I wanted to look fancy for them and also for you. But if you hear me jangling in the recording, I am so sorry, but not sorry enough to take any of it off.
It's you. It's your look.
I love that. And you teach this too. Didn't you teach Creature Voices at VO Atlanta?
I have never been to VO Atlanta.
Okay. There was somebody else.
There is. It was probably Sebastian Crotteux with the Monster Factory. I think he's been over there.
That sounds
Okay.
right.
Do you do
yeah.
any teaching or coaching?
Yes, I do. And Sebastian, when he was starting the Monster Factory, he actually hit me up. He wanted me to be a founding partner, but it didn't work for a number of reasons. But we have a cordial, friendly relationship, and we wish each other the best. But yeah, it's like he's the other half kind of the monster field, I want to say, of classes and sessions and direction and stuff. And in terms of people who I biasedly think actually know what we're talking about. So I teach a webinar called Extreme Vocals for Extreme Roles, and by this point I've taught more than 30 instances of the class and have taught probably in the neighborhood of like 700 actors by this point.
Nice.
Walk them through some of these techniques, which basically is a really deep, granular dive into those different parts of your laryngeal anatomy, how each one can be used to affect your tone and to create sustainable, safe monsters and creatures and extreme vocals for of all kinds. So that would be like anime, video games, like even if you're not a creature or a monster, a lot of shit still wants you to just scream your lungs out. So it behooves you to know how to do that, or at least how to pick and choose your battles so you know where to commit and where to hold it back.
What was the first moment that you realized? You were talking about playing around, with your brother and doing sounds and stuff like that. What was the first moment that you realized, wow, I could actually make cash doing these wacky voices and stuff?
It was pretty late. I had wanted to be a drummer professionally, and then when I got into college and learned that I was actually really, really good at singing, I was like, actually, I want to be a singer instead of a drummer. And so then I'm like, Mom, I'm going to drop out of college and I'm going to move to Nashville and be a rock star. And she's like, why don't we find you a school in Nashville instead? And it was like, that's probably prudent. So I was just still in the music side of things. And then when I was working at the record label, I was on the phone all the time and, doing phone sales with our affiliates and whatever. And and so then I forget who it was, but they're like, hey, you've got such a great voice. Do you want to do, actually, hold on. Quick context. I had first been a journalism major doing broadcast journalism in the University of Missouri in Columbia, but then I just hated journalism. They wanted me to do like a 20-hour-a-week sports writing job as my next class, and I was like, all right, I am out. So yeah, but because everybody had told me I had such a great voice for broadcast, and so pivoted from that into singing in Nashville, and then from there at the record label, blah blah blah. So they were like, do you want to do the company phone system? Okay, that sounds fun. So it was very funny because the people calling in would hear like, thank you for calling Word Music. Please be advised your call may be recorded, and then I would pick up and be like, Word Music. This is Michael. And they'd be like, wait,
Is it still the recording?
yeah, like, are you real? Like, at least every couple days, I would get somebody that just wouldn't answer. They'd be like, are you a real person? And so from there, it was like messing around and on set, because they would use employees for like extras in music videos, which was kind of fun. But as I'm constantly doing stupid voices, I was doing, your sleazy New Jersey kind of mechanic guy, whatever. And then somebody was like, wait, who did that? And I was like, it was me. You want to fight about it? And he's like, well, we need that voice for a different video. Okay, cool. So then I do that video, and then I do another video and then it was like, hey, do you want to do the narration for Blake Shelton's CMA promotion and video? And I was like, hold on. Are you going to pay me? Yeah. And they were like, well, you're on the payroll. So it's like, well, I'm on the payroll on the Christian media across the street in sales, not artist creative in the country. Like, that's not the same payroll. They're like, well, we don't have a budget for it. Yeah, all right. So
It's Blake Shelton.
yeah, literally. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it because I'm Blake Shelton. And this was 2013. But then it was like, the wheels turning of, if you're good enough for Blake Shelton, you're good enough for anybody. And it was like,
Yep.
yes, I'm listening, Destiny. So I sold a massive trading card collection, saved up a bunch of money, and quit my full-time salaried job at Warner Music, fully convinced that I could be a professional voice actor, and then I just never proved myself wrong.
Wow. I love that origin story, man. That's so cool. And we hear a lot of that. And then we hear the trepidation, too. And so I stuck around in my corporate job for 15 more years. And then I decided to take a chance after COVID when everybody else did, you know?
No, I mean, it helps a lot that I am extraordinarily privileged. I did not have any student debt because I come from a fairly well-off family. We were from nowhere, Illinois, so like cost of living is super low. I was able to get a house or a condo like right at the housing crash, around 2008, 2010. So like I was set up really well to do this. I didn't have really any debt. So even though it was skinny, I burned through almost, well, not all my savings, but I was definitely eating lean by the end of that first year. But then I started getting some gigs, and then it was like, I think this is actually going to work. And just really hitting the like cold calls, self-marketing, going to your local chamber of commerce. That's the thing that a lot of these people that are the reactive sort that are like, I took a chance after COVID. Why isn't there any work? Well, it's because you're waiting for shit to show up in your inbox. Like, if you actually want to be a creative freelancer, put that sales cap on. You think, who is my client? Question 1. Where is my client? Question 2. How do I get in front of my client? Question 3. If you can answer all 3 of those questions, you can almost always make a career out of it.
And the Making Waves VO podcast will be right back.
Hey everyone, David Toback, COO of the Global Voice Acting Academy, also creator of the GVA Rate Guide and a voice actor. And you're listening to the Making Waves VO podcast.
As a voice actor, you want to focus on what's important, right? Like pulling off the perfect read. You don't want to stress about tech stuff. That's why Full Compass is in your corner. With 50 years experience in pro audio, Full Compass has everything we voice actors need. Mics, headphones, monitors, mixers, interfaces, DAWs, all the goodies. And their certified product experts help with everything they sell. Plus, you can get free same-day shipping, flexible financing, and a low-price guarantee. See it all at fullcompass.com. Fullcompass.com. They know VO.
Now back to the podcast. Kevin and I were just talking about this. It's about putting things off and finding reasons why. Yeah, you just got to be proactive.
And it's funny, Michael, you touched on it earlier in the podcast. You said something about sales, and I'm like, I could already wrap my head around that. Yeah, this guy's a hustler. He understands the game of putting yourself out there, and you've got to be your best cheerleader. And can you unpack just a little bit more, identifying the client, finding the client, and all that kind of stuff, and then your salesmanship and how important that is in this business.
Yeah, and it's not, I mean, there's such a like stigma around networking and marketing because of like the LinkedIn hustlers nowadays, and like,
Yeah, it makes you a little creepy and slimy feeling, right?
It does make it. A lot of people, especially creators and artists, they get so skeeved out by that because they associate it with like used car salesmen and stuff, and like it's just the furthest thing from it. Like if you're doing it right, your goal in meeting everybody should be first and foremost to learn every single possible thing you can about this person. And not just like what their needs are, but like what you can invest in them, what you can contribute of yourself to them. And if you do that enough, eventually somebody is going to want to pick up what you're selling in exchange. Like I play a game with myself at every one of these events that I'm at, where if every question I ask is 1 point, and every unsolicited thing that I say about myself is negative 1 point. And if I am like doing my job right, being an interested, like attentive listener, people will want to know what I do and want to know what services I provide. Because if they don't give a shit what I do. Like if I'm just like, oh, and by the way, I'm, I've been in 100 games and I've cast it. They don't care because they didn't ask. So if they don't ask, I just assume that they're not a like hot prospect, and you just move on. So that kind of other focused mindset is the proper way to network and find connections, and just join communities is ultimately what you want to do. When I'm trying to put myself in front of clients, it's not to like, okay, who's my mark? It's like, okay, what community that is tangential to mine, for instance, game developers or sound designers or trailer editors, where do they hang out? What can I learn about what their industry is like and how my piece fits into that? And then if I am just existing in their space, eventually at some point, they will want to involve themselves with me. And it can take a long time. I was in the independent game developer group in Nashville for years, just in the spaces, like at the meetings, hanging out, working on stuff kind of at the same time with them, but not really ever selling myself. But they knew I was there and what I did. And eventually, 7 years later, one of the leaders of it hit me up and was like, hey, I've got this project and we need a director casting, we need voice acting. I managed to flip the game union. We did 20 plus actors, had a killer cast of really top tier talent, and made a decent chunk of money off of it, purely because I just planted the seed and then just let it grow for years and years and years, and didn't push myself on them. So if you're secure enough to let connections naturally develop, it turns out that friendship and connections are emergent behavior. And that's the problem that most people have, is that they think it's a thing you have to do like manually. You can't make somebody be a good connection or a friend. You have to just